What if episode 9 is the moment everything changes? Not just another mystery, not just another shocking death, not just another clue hidden in the woods. What if this is the episode where the town finally starts revealing what it really is? Because after everything we've seen this season, one thing has become impossible to ignore. The town is reacting. It's adapting. It's fighting back, and that's terrifying. Every time Boyd gets closer to answers, something happens. Every time Jade discovers a clue, another mystery appears. Every time Tabitha believes she's found a path forward, the town pulls her deeper into its nightmare. Coincidence? Maybe, but what if it's not? What if there's something in this place that's watching every move they make? Something that knows exactly what they're thinking, and if that's true, then episode 9 could be one of the most dangerous chapters in the entire series. Before we dive into the predictions, let me ask you something. What if the monsters aren't hunting people because they're hungry? What if they're hunting people because they're afraid? Keep that question in the back of your mind, because we're coming back to it later. And it might completely change the way you see this story. As episode 8 came to an end, several storylines were moving toward a collision course. Boyd is under more pressure than ever before. Jade is becoming obsessed with solving the mystery. Victor continues to hide pieces of the past. And Tabitha is beginning to understand that her connection to the town may be far deeper than anyone realizes. But here's where things get interesting. The show has been quietly setting up a major revelation. Think about all the visions we've seen. The strange voices. The symbols. The children. The recurring dreams. At first these felt like separate mysteries, but what if they're actually connected? What if they've always been connected? One of the biggest predictions heading into episode 9 is that Jade finally discovers the missing piece that links all these mysteries together, and if that happens, it could change everything. Imagine Jade spending most of the episode following another series of clues. Everyone around him thinks he's losing control. Again, but this time is different. This time the clues actually lead somewhere, a hidden location. A forgotten structure, a place that has existed beneath everyone's noses for years. And when Jade arrives, he finds evidence that people have been searching for answers long before Boyd, long before Victor, maybe even long before anyone currently living in the town. Think about how huge that would be. It would confirm that the mystery is much older than we imagined. And if others came before them, what happened to those people? Did they escape? Did they die? Or did something even worse happen? That's where episode 9 could become truly horrifying, because answers in from always come with consequences. Every revelation creates a new nightmare. Every clue opens another door. And every door leads somewhere darker. Meanwhile, Boyd may be facing one of the hardest decisions of his life. Throughout the series, Boyd has been the person everyone turns to when things fall apart. The problem is that things are falling apart faster than he can hold them together. The town is becoming more desperate. Fear is spreading. People are losing hope. And hopeless people make dangerous choices. Episode 9 could show Boyd struggling to maintain control as tensions reach a boiling point. Imagine a situation where the residents become divided into two groups. One group wants to keep searching for answers. The other wants to focus entirely on survival. Both sides believe they're right. Both sides think the other group is making a mistake, and Boyd gets trapped in the middle. No matter what decision he makes, someone suffers. No matter what path he chooses, someone blames him. That's exactly the kind of emotional conflict this show loves. But here's where things become even more interesting. What if the division inside the town is exactly what the mysterious force wants? Think about it. The creatures attack at night. The visions create fear. The mysteries create paranoia. Everything seems designed to break people apart. Why? Because divided people are easier to control. And if the town feeds on fear, despair, or emotional suffering, then conflict becomes another weapon, a weapon far more dangerous than claws or teeth. Now let's talk about Tabitha, because episode 9 might belong to her. Ever since returning, Tabitha has felt different, more aware, more connected. Almost like she's carrying information she doesn't fully understand. Many fans believe she's becoming one of the most important pieces of the entire puzzle, and episode 9 could prove why. Imagine Tabitha experiencing another vision. At first it seems similar to the others. Fragments. Images. Voices. But then something changes. For the first time, the vision becomes clear. She sees her Location, a specific place. Not a symbol, not a dream. An actual destination. And she realizes the town has been trying to show her something all along. The question is why? Why Tabitha? Why now? And what happens if she reaches that destination? That's where things become terrifying, because every time someone follows the town's clues, the result is never what they expect. The town doesn't simply reveal answers. It manipulates people into finding them, and that's a very important difference. Now let's move on to Victor. Because if there's one character who might secretly know the truth, it's him. Victor has survived longer than anyone. He's witnessed events nobody else remembers. He's seen people arrive. He's seen people disappear. And most importantly, he's seen patterns that repeat over and over again. What if episode 9 reveals that Victor has been hiding a memory? Not because he wants to keep secrets, because he's terrified of what that memory means. Imagine Victor discovering one of his old drawings, a drawing he created years ago. At first it seems harmless. Then he notices something impossible. The drawing contains details from recent events that hadn't happened yet when he drew it. How could that be? Did Victor predict the future? Or is time inside the town behaving differently? That possibility would completely transform the mythology of From. And it could explain why certain characters experience visions before major events occur, because maybe they're not seeing the future, maybe they're remembering it, maybe this story has happened before, maybe the town exists inside a repeating cycle. And if that's true, episode 9 could finally provide our biggest clue yet. But the most chilling prediction involves the creatures themselves. For years, viewers have focused on the monsters, the smiling faces, the nighttime attacks, the impossible behavior, yet we've never truly understood what they are, and that's suspicious because From usually hides its biggest secrets in plain sight. What if the monsters aren't the final threat? What if they're merely servants, prisoners. Victims. Or even guardians? Think about that. What if they're preventing something worse from escaping? Suddenly everything changes, the entire story changes, and every encounter we've seen gains a new meaning. If episode 9 starts exploring this possibility, fans are going to lose their minds, because it would open the door to an even larger mystery. Who created the monsters? Who controls them? And what exactly is hiding behind the curtain? The closer our characters get to those answers, the more dangerous their journey becomes, and that's why episode 9 feels so important. The clues are connecting, the mysteries are converging, and the town may finally be preparing to reveal another piece of its terrifying secret. But in From, every answer comes with a price, and someone may be about to pay it. If there's one thing we've learned from, it's that the most dangerous moments aren't always the ones that happen at night. Sometimes the real danger begins when someone discovers a piece of the truth, and that brings us back to Jade. Because episode 9 could finally push him further than we've ever seen before. Throughout the entire series, Jade has approached the mystery differently from everyone else. While most people focus on survival, Jade focuses on understanding. He refuses to accept that things simply happen. He believes every mystery has a solution. The problem is that the town seems to punish curiosity. Every clue Jade discovers creates another question. Every answer leads deeper into the maze, and yet he keeps going. Why? Because deep down, Jade understands something most people don't. The mystery is getting worse. The town is changing. And if nobody finds answers soon, survival may no longer be enough. Imagine episode 9 opening with Jade studying symbols, maps, drawings, and notes collected throughout the season. At first the information appears random, but then he notices a pattern nobody else has seen. The symbols aren't marking locations, they're marking events. Every symbol corresponds to a specific tragedy. Every tragedy corresponds to a specific location, and when Jade connects them all together, they form something shocking. A path, not through the forest, not through the town, but through the history of the place itself. Suddenly, everything starts making sense. The visions, the voices, the recurring imagery, the children. The symbols aren't warnings, they're directions. The town has been guiding people all along, but guiding them where? That's the terrifying question, because whenever From provides a clue, the destination is never safe. Meanwhile, Boyd finds himself facing a different nightmare. Leadership. Not monsters. Not supernatural forces. People. The residents are exhausted. Every week brings more fear, more uncertainty, more grief. and eventually fear transforms into frustration. Imagine a town meeting in episode 9. Voices rise, arguments erupt, accusations begin flying across the room. Some residents blame Boyd for failed decisions, others blame Jade for chasing mysteries instead of practical solutions, others blame Tabitha for bringing back more questions than answers. The atmosphere becomes toxic, and that's exactly what makes it dangerous. Because fear spreads faster than monsters, the creatures only attack at night. Panic attacks all day. And if Boyd loses the trust of the town, the consequences could be devastating. But here's where things get really interesting. What if Boyd begins noticing strange behavior among the residents, small changes, subtle differences, people acting slightly out of character, conversations that feel off, reactions that don't make sense. At first Boyd dismisses it. Everyone is stressed. Everyone is traumatized. But what if he's wrong? What if something is influencing them, not controlling them completely, just nudging them, encouraging fear, amplifying conflict, pushing people towards specific decisions? That possibility has existed in the background of the series for a long time. And episode 9 could bring it into the spotlight, because the more we learn about the town, the more it feels alive. Not alive in a physical sense. Alive in an intelligent sense, like something is observing. Learning. Adapting. Manipulating. And if that's true, then every conflict inside the town serves a purpose. Now let's return to Victor, because no character carries more secrets than him. Victor has always existed on the edge of the mystery. Sometimes he appears confused, sometimes he appears frightened, sometimes he appears to know exactly what's happening. And that's what makes him so fascinating. Many fans believe Victor knows more than he's willing to admit. Not because he's dishonest, because he's traumatized. Imagine Victor finding an old storage area he hasn't visited in years. Inside are drawings, hundreds of drawings. Scenes from different periods of the town's history, faces of people long gone, events nobody else remembers, and hidden among them is one image that stops him cold, a drawing of the present day. A drawing he made decades ago. The implications would be enormous. How could he draw something that hadn't happened yet? How could he know about people who hadn't even arrived? Victor begins realizing that some of his childhood memories may not be memories at all. They may be warnings. Messages. Fragments of information sent across time. And suddenly the entire mystery becomes bigger than anyone imagined. Because now we're no longer talking about a trapped town. We're talking about reality itself. Could the town exist outside normal time? Could the past, present, and future overlap inside this place? Could that's why certain characters see impossible visions? These are exactly the kinds of questions episode 9 could start exploring. And if it does, the fan theories afterward will be incredible. But perhaps the most emotional storyline belongs to Tabitha. For several seasons, she's been searching for answers. Searching for meaning. Searching for a way to protect her family, and every step forward has come with pain. Imagine Tabitha experiencing a vision unlike anything we've seen before. No distorted images. No confusion. No cryptic clues. Just clarity. For the first time, she understands exactly what she's seeing. A location deep within the forest. An ancient structure hidden from view. And a feeling so overwhelming she can't ignore it. The feeling that she's supposed to be there. Not wants to be there. Not hopes to be there. Supposed to be there. As if the town itself is calling her. And that realization terrifies her. Because if the town is communicating directly with her, what does it want? Help? Obedience? A sacrifice? The answer could change everything. At the same time, Ethan may continue emerging as one of the most important characters in the story. It's easy to overlook him because he's young. But From has repeatedly shown that children perceive things adults cannot. Ethan notices patterns others miss. He understands symbols others fear. And sometimes he seems connected to the town in ways nobody fully understands. Imagine Ethan casually mentioning something during episode 9. A phrase, a symbol, a location. Something that immediately captures everyone's attention, not because Ethan understands its significance, because everyone else does. Suddenly the adults realize Ethan knows something impossible, something he should never have been able to know. The room falls silent. Questions begin, fear spreads, and for the audience, another mystery is born. How does Ethan know these things? Where is the information coming from? And why does the town keep choosing children as messengers? Now let's talk about one prediction that could completely shock viewers. A death. Not just any death, a major death. The kind that changes the direction of the season. From has never been afraid to take risks, and episode 9 feels like the perfect place for a devastating loss. Imagine a character finally getting close to the truth, closer than anyone has ever been. They uncover a secret, they discover evidence, they find a path toward answers, and just as they're about to reveal everything, something happens. The town pushes back. Violently, the emotional impact would be massive, not only because of the loss itself, because of what it represents, the town protecting its secrets. The message would be clear: nobody gets close without consequences, nobody uncovers the truth for free. And that raises the stakes for everyone else, especially Boyd, especially Jade, especially Tabitha. As episode 9 moves toward its climax, multiple storylines could begin converging: Jade following clues, Tabitha pursuing visions, Victor confronting memories, Boyd trying to hold the town together. At first these stories seem separate, then the audience realizes they're all heading toward the same destination. The same revelation, the same horrifying truth. And when those storylines collide, everything changes, because the closer our characters get to understanding the town, the more the town seems determined to stop them. And if episode 9 follows the pattern established throughout the series, the final moments won't provide complete answers, they'll provide something even more powerful: a revelation. A revelation that redefines every mystery that came before it. A revelation that forces viewers to question everything they've assumed, and a revelation that makes the wait for episode 10 almost unbearable, because the truth is never simple. The truth is always worse than anyone imagined, and episode 9 may finally prove it. But what if the biggest mystery isn't the town at all? What if it's the forest? For years, viewers have focused on the houses, the creatures, the symbols, and the people trapped inside this nightmare. Yet the forest has always been there, silently watching from the edges of every scene. The forest is where people get lost. The forest is where visions begin. The forest is where impossible things happen. And episode 9 could finally reveal that the forest isn't just surrounding the town. The forest may actually be controlling it. Think about every strange event we've witnessed: trees appearing where they shouldn't, paths changing unexpectedly, people becoming disoriented. Locations that seem impossible to find twice. None of those things feel random, they feel intentional. Almost as if the environment itself is making decisions. Imagine Jade sharing his latest discovery with Boyd, Tabitha, and Victor. At first they dismiss the theory, then Jade presents evidence. Maps, patterns. Timelines. Proof that certain locations in the forest physically move. Not every day. Not every hour, but enough to alter events, enough to guide people toward specific outcomes. Enough to trap them. And suddenly the idea sounds less insane than ever. Because if the forest can move, then escape becomes nearly impossible. No matter which direction someone travels, the destination can simply change. No matter how carefully someone plans, the rules can shift. It's a terrifying realization, not because it removes hope, because it reveals that hope itself may be manipulated. Now let's talk about the creatures, because episode 9 feels like the perfect moment to reveal something major about them. Throughout the series, the monsters have remained one of the biggest unanswered questions. Why do they smile? Why do they speak? Why do they behave differently from traditional monsters? And perhaps most importantly, why do they seem so confident? Think about it. The creatures rarely appear rushed, rarely appear desperate, rarely appear worried. It's almost as if they know something the humans don't. What if that's because they've already seen this story play out before? One of the most fascinating theories among fans is that the monsters were once people, not random people, people who failed, people who lost, people who became trapped inside the cycle. Imagine episode 9 dropping subtle hints supporting this possibility. Perhaps Victor recognizes a face. Perhaps an old drawing contains images that resemble modern creatures. Perhaps someone uncovers records describing earlier residents who disappeared without explanation, not killed. Change. That distinction would be incredibly important, because it would suggest the creatures aren't invading the town, they're part of it, created by it, transformed by it. And if people can become monsters, then a terrifying new question emerges. Could it happen again? Could someone currently living in the town eventually suffer the same fate? That possibility alone would completely alter the stakes moving forward. Now imagine how Boyd would react to such a revelation. He's spent years protecting people from the creatures, but what if some of those creatures were once victims themselves? What if the enemy isn't what he thought? The emotional conflict would be enormous. Because suddenly every encounter gains a tragic dimension. Every monster becomes a reminder of what could happen to anyone, and that's exactly the kind of layered storytelling From excels at. Meanwhile, Tabitha's journey may continue leading her toward one of the most important discoveries in the entire series. The deeper she follows the visions, the more they begin resembling memories. Not her memories, someone else's. Imagine Tabitha witnessing fragments of events from decades ago, people she has never met, conversations she never heard, places she never visited. And yet everything feels familiar, painfully familiar. At first, she believes the visions belong to former residents. Then she realizes something disturbing. The visions aren't showing random events. They're showing key moments, moments where people almost discovered the truth, moments where everything nearly changed, moments where the cycle almost ended. That realization would send chills through viewers, because it means generations of people may have fought the same battle. Generations may have failed, and now the responsibility falls on the current survivors. But can they succeed where everyone else failed? That's the question episode 9 may begin asking, and the answer might not be encouraging. Now let's focus on one detail many fans overlook: the children. The mysterious children have remained central to the mythology for a long time. They appear in visions. They appear in dreams. They appear in moments that defy explanation, yet their purpose remains unclear. What if episode 9 finally provides a major clue? Imagine Ethan encountering another symbol. Unlike previous occasions, he immediately recognizes it. Not from memory. Not from study. Instinctively. As though the symbol means something buried deep inside him. When the adults ask how he knows, Ethan can't explain, he simply knows. And that's what frightens everyone, because knowledge without explanation implies connection. A connection nobody understands. The scene could become one of the most talked about moments of the season, not because of action, because of implications. If Ethan is connected to the mystery, then his role may be far larger than anyone imagined, and he may not be the only child connected to it. Now let's explore a prediction that could completely redefine the mythology. What if the town isn't a prison? What if it's a test? Think about that idea for a moment. A prison exists to keep people inside. A test exists to evaluate them. What if every tragedy, every challenge, every impossible choice has been measuring something? Courage, sacrifice, compassion, hope. What if the town has been observing human behavior all along? That possibility sounds unbelievable. Yet many events in the series start making sense if viewed through that lens. The impossible decisions, the moral dilemmas, the emotional suffering, the constant temptation to give up. Those aren't just obstacles, they're examinations. And if episode 9 hints at this theory, it could become one of the most important revelations in the show's history. Because suddenly escaping isn't about finding a road. It's about understanding the purpose of the journey. Of course, this is from. Nothing is ever that simple. Every answer reveals a deeper mystery. Every breakthrough uncovers another layer. And that brings us to what could be the episode's most shocking sequence. Imagine several characters independently following different clues. Jade follows the symbols, Tabitha follows the visions. Victor follows old memories, Boyd follows evidence from recent events. Each believes they're pursuing separate paths. Each believes they're searching for different answers. Then they arrive at the same location. The same place, the same hidden destination. The realization hits all of them simultaneously. Every clue has been leading here. Every mystery connects. Every storyline converges. The tension becomes unbearable. Because viewers know what happens whenever someone gets close to the truth. The town reacts. Sometimes subtly, sometimes violently, and as our characters prepare to uncover whatever is hidden there, the atmosphere changes. The forest becomes unnaturally quiet. The wind stops. The sounds disappear. Even the characters sense something is wrong. Something is watching. Something knows they're close. And that's where episode 9 could deliver one of its biggest cliffhangers, not by providing complete answers, but by placing our characters directly in front of them, one final step away from discovery, one final step away from understanding. One final step away from a truth that may change everything. And the moment they reach for that truth, the episode ends. Black screen. No explanation. No resolution. Only the horrifying realization that whatever waits ahead is far bigger than anyone imagined. And if that happens, episode 10 could become the most important episode of the season, because after years of mysteries, years of theories, years of questions, The story may finally be approaching its most dangerous revelation yet. And the closer our characters get to that revelation, the more impossible survival becomes, because sometimes the scariest thing isn't the unknown, sometimes it's finally discovering the truth. And now we arrive at the moment everything has been building toward, because if our predictions are even partially correct, episode 9 won't simply be another chapter in the story. It will be the episode that changes the direction of the entire season. Think about where every major character stands right now. Boyd is carrying the weight of the town on his shoulders. Jade is closer to the truth than ever before. Tabitha continues receiving visions she barely understands. Victor is haunted by memories that may hold the key to everything. Ethan remains connected to mysteries nobody can explain. Every storyline is moving toward the same point, the same revelation, the same danger, and when all those paths finally collide, the consequences could be catastrophic. Imagine the final act of episode 9 beginning at the hidden location our characters have spent the entire episode searching for. A structure, a chamber. A forgotten place buried beneath years of secrets. Nobody knows who built it, nobody knows why it exists, but everyone immediately understands one thing: this place matters. The atmosphere feels wrong. Heavy. Ancient. Almost alive. As Boyd, Jade, Tabitha, and Victor step inside, they begin finding evidence that changes everything they thought they knew. Old drawings, symbols, messages, records from people who came before them. And suddenly a horrifying pattern emerges. They weren't the first group to reach this place. Not even close. Others found it too. Many others. Generations of others. People who believed they were about to solve the mystery. People who believed they were about to escape. People who failed. The realization hits like a punch to the stomach. Everything they've been fighting for may have happened before. Again. And again. And again. The cycle theory suddenly feels real, terrifyingly real, but then Jade discovers something unexpected, evidence that one group came closer than all the others. One group nearly succeeded, one group almost broke the cycle. And that's where the episode becomes truly dangerous, because now our characters know escape might actually be possible. Hope returns. And hope is often the most dangerous thing in from. Why? Because hope encourages risk. Hope inspires action. Hope convinces people to keep moving forward, even when they should stop. Meanwhile, outside the hidden location, strange events begin unfolding throughout the town. Residents report hearing voices. Others claim they've seen figures moving between the trees during daylight. Some insist the forest itself appears different. The atmosphere becomes increasingly unstable. As though the town knows something important is happening. As though it senses the truth is getting closer. And then comes the prediction many fans are already worried about: a major death. Not a random death, not a background character, someone important, someone whose loss would send shockwaves through every remaining survivor. The clues throughout season 4 suggest the show may be building toward an emotional tragedy before the finale. Imagine a moment where someone sacrifices themselves to protect the others, not because they want to die, because they realize it's the only way. The scene would be heartbreaking. Especially if the character finally understands a piece of the mystery moments before their death. A truth discovered. An answer revealed. Then silence. The emotional impact would be enormous. Not only because viewers lose a beloved character, because that loss proves something terrifying. The closer people get to answers, the greater the cost becomes. And that realization hangs over every remaining character. Especially Boyd. Imagine Boyd blaming himself. Again. Another person lost. Another tragedy he couldn't prevent. Another reminder that leadership comes with impossible burdens. The guilt begins eating away at him. And the audience starts wondering whether Boyd can continue carrying the responsibility much longer. Because even the strongest people have breaking points, and Boyd may be approaching his. Meanwhile, Victor could experience one final revelation before the episode ends: a memory, not fragmented, not incomplete, a complete memory. For the first time. And what he remembers changes everything. Imagine Victor suddenly recalling an event from childhood. An event connected directly to the origins of the town. He remembers people discovering something. Something buried, something hidden, something they were never supposed to find. And that discovery triggered everything: the monsters, the cycle, the nightmare. The memory ends before revealing the full truth. But it provides enough information to completely transform the audience's understanding of the story. Suddenly the mystery feels larger, Older. More dangerous. And viewers immediately begin theorizing about what it means, but the episode still isn't finished, because from love's ending on unforgettable cliffhangers. Picture the final minutes. Night has fallen. The characters return from their discovery carrying new information, new fears. New questions. The town is quiet. To quiet. Everyone senses something is wrong. Then it happens. A sound echoes through the darkness. Not a scream, not a creature, something unfamiliar. Something we've never heard before. Every character freezes. Every conversation stops. The sound comes again, closer this time. The monsters react. And that's the shocking part. The monsters seem afraid, for the first time in the entire series. The creatures don't appear confident. They don't appear calm. They appear nervous. Terrified. Suddenly viewers realize something horrifying. Whatever made that sound frightens the monsters, and if the monsters are afraid. How dangerous must it be? The camera slowly moves toward the edge of the forest. Trees sway, darkness shifts. A silhouette appears between the branches, too large to identify, too distant to understand, but undeniably real. The characters stare in disbelief. The audience watches in silence. And then the screen cuts to black. No explanation. No answers. Just one final terrifying question. If the monsters aren't the worst thing in the forest. What is? That question would instantly become the biggest discussion topic among fans. Videos. Theories. Breakdowns. Predictions. Everyone trying to figure out what they just witnessed, and that's exactly why episode 9 has the potential to be one of the strongest episodes of the season. Not because it answers every question, because it changes the questions. The best mysteries don't simply reveal information. They force us to rethink everything we thought we knew. And if episode 9 delivers on its potential, viewers may never look at the town, the forest, or the monsters the same way again. Before we end this video, I want to hear your theory. Do you believe the monsters were once human? Do you think Victor knows more than he's revealing? And what do you think is really controlling the town? Leave your predictions in the comments below, because some of the best theories come directly from viewers like you. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to subscribe, turn on notifications, and stay tuned for our episode 9 review and episode 10 predictions, because the deeper we go into from season 4, the more dangerous the mystery becomes, and something tells me the biggest secrets are still waiting in the darkness.